What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916, getting down with Fresh Out. You know how we do it over here. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, represent. Go to freshoutseries.com, pick up a wig splitter t-shirt, and represent. I'm here with my man Cody, 23 years, working with the government, military. Man, this man is encyclopedia of information. And Cody, you know, there's a lot of things going on right now, especially with this 2024 coming up, going to be an election year, and we see all kind of things going on in the news, a lot of distractions, you know, everything from the multiple Trump indictments, but yet we have all this, you know, Batista stuff uncovering with money, you know, money scams going on with our current administration. I mean, what do you see going on for the 2024 election, man, realistically? I mean, I see, you know, everybody thinks, oh my God, the world, we're gonna run around, it's gonna be war, this and that. I see, you know, waking up one day and you just see, these people have been arrested. This is going on, this is gonna be, and because people are, you know, it doesn't take a bunch of people for a revolution.
Right.
It's just gonna be, you wake up and you're gonna be reading like, what the hell, what, is this real? They busted this, this is in handcuffs, what is going on here? And a lot of people who thought it was all bullshit are going to see some way out shit. I mean, what do you perceive? Because right now, dude, the 2024 election, I mean, even if you don't like the, you know, Trump, and I'm not, you know, everybody, oh man, if you even don't, but if you, I mean, this is almost like when you take your competition and you're in office and you're using your resources to hinder that person from running in what's supposed to be quote unquote an honest election, that doesn't represent, and it's more or less like we're dealing with a banana republic right now.
Right.
And everybody just kind of like just going along with it. What do you mean? How do you see this all turning out, man?
I generally look at politics at the meta level like pro wrestling. I think that's as a fact. I don't think it's real at all, to be completely honest. So I think what is happening is narative modification, right? So when I look at things like the presidential elections coming up, I basically form like courses of action, right? I'm fairly certain that the main agenda that we've talked about before, which may take years, is the pushing towards a one world government, one world order, all that shit. It says it on the back of the dollar, right? So how do they do that? I also look at the things that stay the same between all the different administrations, because that's really where, I mean, that's the deep state, right? But that's really where you see what the administrations are concerned about. So, for example, you know, Trump was in office, but he didn't end any of those wars, right? I mean, it went from George Bush Jr. To Obama to Trump to Biden. So we flipped back and forth quite a bit. None of those wars ever ended, right? And you can see personnel on their staff moving from administration to administration. So, you know, you see Dr. Fauci go all the way through Trump shit, right into Biden shit,
That's
right?
right.
So
yeah.
Nobody goes in there and fires everybody. Nobody goes in there and rips anything out. So the question is, how do you perceive what's going to come up? So I guess you got to kind of look at the actors that they're putting out there right now, right? So we have RFK coming out, the new actor. And I'm like, when I see people start to fall for RFK, I'm like, how is this possible? The dude's a Kennedy. That's a crime family.
Yeah.
And we were kind of talking about on text one day is like, what type of person can continue to work for an organization, be it the government, after their dad and uncle get their wig split?
That's right.
An organized criminal. I'm aware that as a military man, when I step off on this mission, I might get killed, and I'm down to keep doing it. Like if it's, you know, criminal, like in Goodfellas, after Joe Pesci gets whacked, they go back to work.
yeah.
Like,
another day.
Yeah, that's the price.
Yeah.
We all knew what the cause and effect was, and Joe Pesci fucking shanked that dude. Now he got whacked. So for my RFK thing, I almost feel like RFK is replacing Bernie Sanders as the lure to keep people that should be getting the fuck out of the Democratic Party in the Democratic Party, like your Bernie bros, right? Like your in shape white guys kind of shit, you know, like. But they still want to be cool with all these lefty chicks or whatever. Like that's your RFK type guy, right? But Now, do I think that they actually put that guy in the White House? I don't think so. Unless the purpose is to do what you're saying, which is to unclassify shit, so he would be the catalyst that would to start to get people dropped, right? Some of these older characters, I think, have been burned. So for those of us that were aware of pro wrestling when we were kids, there was a time when we remembered the old guard. I'm 45, so we had the Iron Sheik, we had Hulk Hogan, Well, you start rolling forward, and man, Hulk Hogan's got a B cup now. I don't really think that's the guy anymore. So then you see the new generation of stars come out. You see, now we got The Rock, now we got the Stone Cold, right? I think a lot of these political players that they've been using for the nonsense have been burnt, right? So I think
you're right. New faces.
Yeah, they're starting to push new faces forward.
What about Vivek Ramaswamy?
I think that's one of the dudes for one of those. He's running as Republican, right?
Yeah.
I think he's one of those dudes to keep
faith in the party.
Yeah, keep faith in the party. Oh hey, look, we're Republicans, but we also have Vivek Swamy, so we're not all white racists. We're fucking,
You know what, man? Man, it's so crazy, man. Because I just sit around, I'm like, this goddamn. Is there anybody that really gives a fuck? None of these people really give a fuck about the people.
No.
Realistic. I mean, I tell people think really we're waiting for these people to save us, and we got to save ourselves. They're not going to get up there and do. Everybody's like, Trump's going to do it. Really, it's like you got guys right now sitting on Skid Row and Frisco. It looks like a third world country, shooting fentanyl and people getting killed. Nobody, and these people are still partying. There's still parties going on. Nothing's changed. And everybody think, well, when it gets this bad, they're going to do this and that. What's going to get so bad and who's going to do what? That's what I keep thinking, who's going to do what? Literally, California, I don't even understand how people they still support this guy, man. They're like, this guy's the great governor. And I'm like, bro, I grew up in California and this shit is crazy.
Yeah.
Certain parts is just like, oh my God, what happened?
And gas is almost $6 here.
Dude, they just issued a notice to all federal employees did not come to work in San Francisco. It's too dangerous.
So it's, moving. Yeah, I heard an interesting one from Roseanne Barr the other day, which was she's saying that she thinks that the next presidential election isn't going to go. So
I heard that too.
That moves that moves the bar even further, right? So that would be a course of action that people talk about amongst the narratives. I look at all these different narratives as just puzzle pieces, right? I'm not personally, unless I have immediate experience with something, I have to look at it as hearsay, and I have to either give it a rating of it. Is it possible and is it plausible, right? And that's kind of how I judge shit. That's part of my decision-making process.
And another thing I do too is I always tell people you can't just be, oh man, the government. You got to go to the other side too. See what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, during COVID, I went to Monterey, Pebble Beach to see what's going on. Where everybody was restricted. It was normal. Wasn't nobody tripping off a mask. Wasn't nobody. I'm like, God, this is crazy. Rich people don't even follow those rules. I went there right before off the thing when they were still telling people in LA County all this stuff, no gathering. I went out there and I'm like, wow. I didn't see not one homeless person. There was no bullshit. They still had their car event. They still had this. They canceled it 1 year, but right after that they had it. And I'm like, when you think the world is ending over here, it's thriving over here. It just depends on how you're looking at your glass, half full or half empty. And I always tell people, I didn't watch any news when I got out in 2008, which was one of the worst housing crises that we've had in this country probably since the 30s or whatever. But I was so happy to be free, and I was catching the bus, going to, the mall and different places, and I was just like, wow, I'm free. And I didn't realize that the economy was in such bad shape. So I always say that you got to always look at things from two different perspectives and realize that not everything is what you see, because there's somebody benefiting from whatever you see that's not what it's supposed to be. So there's always two sides to it. So I always try to look at both perspectives and see what is the other side doing, why these people are so-called in disarray.
I think we call it setting conditions, right? So if we're going to do a military operation and we want to prep what's going on. Yeah, so how do we see this election going? Well, I mean, sometime this week, I believe Tuesday actually, the BRICS via Russia is supposed to announce like a gold standard switch. So maybe this week, it'd be interesting to see what happens. And nothing really happens like overnight, but I think we'll see the initial shaking start. If they ditch the dollar and go to a gold standard, all these people go with them, China goes with them, and people wake up here understanding that, you know, their dollar is worth 80% less than what it used to be. And then they ramp COVID. I mean, didn't Biden just talk about ramping up COVID restrictions in September?
Yeah, because they want to do a mail-in election.
Right. So
people ain't going for that.
They're not going to go for it again.
No.
So that's almost what kind of makes me think of the Roseanne Barr thing, because they've dug. I don't know where that. She's on. I get tripped out when I see personalities show up across a whole bunch of different fucking platforms, man.
Like Ice Cube recently?
Yeah, Ice Cube. It's like,
Roseanne.
bro, weren't you talking about killing your fellow man your entire career? I don't know his entire record catalog.
Yeah. And remember, they always have people come out and talk about stuff without them saying it, but like to kind of give people like a heads up of what's going to happen. And see, I don't know if they're going to be, if 2020, or if it's going to be like she said, well, I see a bunch of people getting arrested. I see like a bunch of shit happening, almost like what's going on in Niger.
Okay.
They had the coup, which not one bullet was fired. But they're saying we're tired of colonialism. We got people leaving our country, going across the ocean, dying to try to get wealth, and you guys are taking all our gold, all our uranium,
right,
and all of our precious minerals. I mean, we have no gold reserve, and France has the 4th largest in the world. And then they're stealing all their uranium with some type of, good, flower pot deal they got going on there. And 90% of the people are living in poverty, which you look in America, a lot of people living in poverty, like barely 1-2 checks away from being homeless. So I see, like they said, we're not going for it. And even, what is it? Algiers is saying that they're going to back them up. And then they try to make Nigeria cut off their power. So people are waking up, and it would be interesting to think that what if West Africa or Africa became the catalyst back for change again?
Yeah.
For people to start kicking out a lot of these so-called, old guard that are, exploiting the resources of all these smaller countries. And here, they're knee deep, but I mean, it's the same thing. So I don't know. It's going to be some interesting narratives play out, man, in the next, the next 12 months.
I mean, talking with Big Ant, I think the most important thing for folks is to, and I say this as a, internet conspiracy theorist, is to start to give energy to a plan B, whatever that might be, right? Mm-hmm. Is because what the system is going to tell you is it's going to tell you to vote harder, it's going to tell you to stand in more lines, be more, and all that energy that you give away to that is not you reconnecting with people. Is not you building a group of people who you trust, where and starting to talk about solutions, right? So I think the problem with the course of action where there's no election, and this particular narrative was pushed by the sort of QAnon folks a lot, is that it is some sort of a military takeover, right? Now, this is just hypothetical shit, right? Because we're just spitballing about it. But the problem with the military takeover piece, and you see a lot of personalities who are also becoming prominent in social media. A lot of ex-military guys who are all of a sudden very Christian, and they're all of a sudden, saying, "Hey, this shit's got to stop." To which I completely agree, but there's no plan B, right?
Yeah.
And when people start to think of, so we'll say that for this period of this talk, that they don't put in some puppet, like they don't keep Biden going, or maybe they do keep Biden going, whatever, and that's the catalyst for the shit to kick off. Well, everybody that's like clamoring for the military takeover and all that shit, I'm like, hey y'all, we lost against guys with sandals, right? I mean,
flip-flops.
We didn't find Bin Laden allegedly for fucking a million years, and we still haven't defeated ISIS, and these are the guys that everybody thinks is going to come full circle and set this fucking ship right? And it will probably be somebody that we've never heard of before, Albert Pike wrote in Morals and Dogma that, like, I think that's a book it was in, is that when the people need a hero, we'll give them one.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of waiting for this election. I think there may be, once again, I'm looking at the narrative, right? I think it would probably fit that a person we haven't seen yet comes up and starts to get pushed to prominence, you know, if it's going to be presidential election type shit. Because if Trump really wanted to declassify everything, the president can declassify whatever the fuck he wants, right? Allegedly, that's supposedly how it works. And if he was really about that business, man, I mean, he's a commander in chief. I don't know how the hell this works, but just pick up the phone to Fort Bragg and get a Delta squadron to protect your ass. Be like, hey, I need a tier 1 unit with no officers, just enlisted guys. Fuck the officers. Those dudes are probably compromised. Like, just give me the enlisted dudes and give me all the ones that are Christian. And put them around the fucking White House. How the hell is the Secret Service even still a thing, man? They know all the shit. How do they not see it, right?
Yeah.
So Trump, if he was really going to do something, from an internal guy with military experience of how I would do something, like, you fuck around and give me the keys to this place, I'm ringing the Oval Office with fucking shooters, and once again, enlisted dudes, and I'm just declassing fucking everything, man. I'm just rubber stamping,
putting it all out there.
As soon as it comes in, aliens, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm just rubber stamping it all, and he didn't do it. He's got the Office of the Director of National Intelligence in his back pocket. The ODNI reports to the president, right? That's allegedly who the CIA reports to. It's the directorate that coalesces all of our intelligence from the intelligence community into one central office. And the ODNI, he tells people what intelligence is. And you can't collect on shit unless it's a collection requirement. Like, I just can't be like, yo, what's up with human trafficking these days? Let me get on the internet webs and start looking at this shit, right? Because you haven't been tasked to do it through the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. So what I am going to do at that time is look for some old lady I can send the Green Berets after. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the shit that we're talking about. But as the president, when you get the in brief, I'm assuming you get we call it read on. When you get told about some secret shit, you get read on. Because they hand you a pamphlet and you read through it. So now you know about it. Well, I'll be like, hey, cool, declassify that, declassify that, declassify that. So, like, knowing how it could have worked and seeing how it didn't is why I don't have any faith that if the election goes Trump's direction,
it's going to be any different.
It's going to be any different, unless the purpose is to crack this off, right?
Do you think that at any point, like, Evil Incorporated is going to find somebody that's comparable? Because it's like almost like in a movie right now, man. We're seeing, like, Bizarro land, like in the old Superman, where, like, people are running out of stores stealing, and everybody's like, yeah, go. And it's like shit has been so normalized, like, people are seeing it like, oh, there goes another smash. Oh, look, they're taking, oh, wow, that's interesting. I mean, it's like entertainment now.
Right.
High-speed chases, this woman over here is getting beat up, a guy, instead of stopping it, he's filming it. I mean, it's like, dude, where's the morals and values at? I mean, it's like pretty mind-blowing. I mean, I'm like, at what point, and me personally, I'm not gonna put my camera out to film shit. If I see somebody doing something out of pocket, I'm gonna beat their fucking ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna put hands on you. I'm not gonna, like, you're not gonna run up at me and try to do, we're gonna go, but the average person, they're so cowardly and they're so, oh my God, it's this and that. It's like, we need more guys like the Sikh who beat that guy with the stick.
Yeah.
Who was getting threatened with a gun. So I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, they, like you said, they put these new characters in. RFK Jr. comes out of retirement. Here we go, the OG, and we got Vivek Ramaswamy, and you got vote more. You guys got to go and stand for the vote. I'm like, really? I mean, I was talking with a guy the other day, and he was like, dude, like my dad said, the last 50 years, every president's been pre-selected.
Right.
Who have we really voted for that wasn't already chosen through this elitist group?
I mean, nobody I can think of. I mean, George Bush Sr. was a director of the CIA. I mean, you can find a picture of him on the internet with, like, his little pyramid, like some esoteric shit floating around, occult stuff. So it is simply my assessment that,
What about FDR? I mean, all those guys have pretty much been tied into some type of relationship. I mean, as you go through in these families and these bloodlines of how they're all connected, It's no different than the guy who's the leader of Denmark. He's if you go back look at his bloodline, he was an old British king. They left England and set up that's the new empire, and they're all related. These guys are all tied in. Obama's like eighth cousin of Bush.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, we got a black guy. It doesn't make a difference.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I mean, and then like you said, when you talk about power and control and media now, and whenever people do start talking about you get censored, so you don't really have a voice. So it's almost like you're just blowing air in the wind. I mean, what's really going to change, or do you try to just navigate within this system with other like-minded individuals so that you can have your own tribe within this entity?
That's what me and my partner Aaron came up with. We got to restart tribes, man. I mean, that's essentially how one of the ways the Afghans resisted us for so long is they were so tribal, man. Like they didn't rat each other out. They didn't rat out their own tribe members, right?
Yeah.
So I think what's probably coming with the election thing is like an offer, right? In the military, we like to put people in a combined arms dilemma, right? So basically what that is at the lowest level is you got like 4 guys like a fire team. And, you've got your fire team leader. He's got an M16 or M4 nowadays, usually a grenade launcher. You got your automatic rifleman. That dude's got a belt-fed machine gun, like a smaller one. You got his assistant, carries more ammo for him and shit. And then you just got like a rifleman. So the point of this is the machine gunner pins the enemy down, right? Now he can't pop his head up. Now the team leader can lob grenades over that motherfucker, right? So he's pinned down behind cover, but you can use your grenade launcher to get grenades down, but over the wall. So there's one part of the dilemma. Meanwhile, like that lowly rifleman with his M4 is going to envelop and hit him from the side. So whatever these guys do, they're fucked now, right? So you can look at like the COVID lockdowns, like being pinned in place by a machine gun, right? And so while they're doing that, they're bumping all this other bullshit over, right? So I think the offer, because all these things are offered. The powers that be give you an offer to see if
you're right. I remember that. We used to talk about the offer. Yeah.
So I think what the powers that be are kind of steering this thing towards is all this. You were talking about with Hector Bravo, the end state, right? All this degeneracy and shit is giving guys like us an offer. It's like, okay, you see the police don't do shit, right? I mean, the whole reason there's legions of detectives to investigate crimes. It's because the fucking Flatfoot didn't stop anything. So now I got to go talk to somebody. Right? It's I gave my power away to this fucking guy already, right?
Yeah.
So I think what we're getting offered as citizens is they're turning up, they're amplifying crime, right? And we have all this. They gave the offer of no bail. That's an offer. Hey, no bail. Go do fucking random crimes, right? So I think what will probably happen is coming up to this new election. Is, whoever the fuck it is, right? The people are going to be clamoring for justice and law and order, right? So what we'll probably get is a justice and law and order dude if it stays on the up and up. And basically what they'll do is they'll run facial recognition software and all that fucking shit, man. Like we would get people's cell phones and run facial recognition software off them just to see who the fuck they were talking to. Like, oh man, this guy knows this dude. Okay. So what you'll see, I think, coming, if it's not just total chaos, is like a police state, man. They're going to send in militarized teams of cops to just start arresting all these fucking people, man. And who knows how far up or down it goes. Like, do I get rolled up for running a red light traffic thing, or are they just rolling up all the fucking armed robbers, right?
I think it almost goes back to like how you said to curtail the resistance or those who they thought could possibly be future resistors, those who are running around now. Is that portal they set up, which these guys, if they had it in them to go rob and do all this other stuff, they were going to work their way up the ladder. So we're going to let them go ahead and build up. And like you said, when they get ready, we got this little window, and we're going to go through and so-and-so. Yeah, man, I'm in. Oh, well, we have here. You got raided with 10 robberies.
Right off the bat.
Yeah, right here you stole jewelry. Over here you stole bags. Over here you stole a car. Over here you got a Hellcat. Over here you did this. With this crew, you ran with this guy. And they're just going to, like you said, they're going to have some big-ass play, and it's going to fill these things up. And then the people that are left are docile, compliant, physically confrontational, and then the handful of people who had values who didn't go out and do this stuff, and they basically cleaned house.
Right.
And now people are going to be like, wow, my little so-and-so. And then so they're going to play that cycle out, and all those people are going to sit there. But like while they emptied out all the so-called state prisons, they're going to fill them right back up. And the people they're filling them up with potentially wouldn't have been criminals had they not been given the offer, which it was tempting, and it became so engaging that they continued. Because I always said, if your kid was, if you got a kid and he gets busted for stealing bubblegum or a candy bar or a Slurpee, he'll learn his lesson and maybe he'll go on and become, somebody productive. But if you continue to let him, it just escalates. And now the smash and grab now becomes a carjacking, possible somebody getting shot, attempted murder. So I think it's a big setup for a long move. Right. And a lot of these people, especially these kids, thinking, oh man, well, they shouldn't be, they're charging all this money for the bags and this and that. They're trying to justify why they're stealing the shit. Apple Store, stealing phones. They got a plan for all these people, man. And if, you wearing the mask and hoodie is not going to be enough to cover up your identity.
No. And the offer for us as citizens like that is, now our offer is to cheer on the fact that all these guys got locked up.
Yes.
But how did they get locked up?
Yeah.
They got locked up through ubiquitous technical surveillance.
Yes.
We essentially gave our fucking Fourth Amendment away to cheer on law and order, right?
Yeah. Because we said, if you want to get rid of these guys, this is what we got to use.
And the combined arms dilemma is, okay, well, if we don't want technical surveillance on us all the time, we just want to go handle this shit ourselves, right? Now we get arrested from the fucking cops, man. So all those dudes out there with the kill a pedophile t-shirt, hey, that's cool and all, man, but you're going to get fucking arrested. Like, because you're taking you're not defending yourself. You're not defending your kid, right? Unless the pedophile drops on him from the fucking swing set, right? You're now you're breaking natural law by taking violent action against somebody who has not aggressed you, right? So that's the other offer. It's like, okay, do you not do anything? And people would go fucking crazy. Hey man, like you always say, it's a cold game, man.
Oh man, there you have it, man. Big Herc 916 and Cody, man, fresh out. You tired of smelling like stanky butt, funky armpits? Wash your ass. Go to FreshOutSeries.com and pick you up a bar of soap.